is Indian country today?
Esquili, yes, Thank you for joining us. I'm Patty Thalahongva. In Minnesota, Red Lake Nation tribal members will go to the polls tomorrow to vote on legalizing medical cannabis. The measure allows for the cannabis to be in a flower form, smokable form, or some other options. This makes it different from other medical cannabis shops in the state that currently only offer liquid, pill, or vaping forms of medical marijuana. If this measure passes, the Minnesota tribe will be the only tribe in the state with this type of program. Across the country, there are some tribes who are growing and selling both medical and recreational marijuana. A Sundance ceremony in Canada is interrupted by members of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. People from the Cree Nation in Saskatchewan say the officers passed through their ceremonial grounds and continue to drive around even after being asked to leave. Attendees say one woman stood in front of the police car blocking them. Sundance host Clayton Sutherland said social distancing practices were in place. The police issued a statement saying they are committed to following up on reports of social gatherings. The statement also said they did not ask for the ceremony to stop and they did not issue any citations. Chief Bobby Cameron from the Federation of Sovereign Indigenous Nations said in the future, the officers should stay off their land. And now for the numbers. Let's go to our Washington editor, Jordan Bennett-Begay, for the latest count of COVID-19 cases in Indian country. Jordan?
Patty. So 6 tribes reported more positive COVID-19 cases, while 1 tribe reported a handful of cases. And here are the latest numbers from our database, Patty. There are now 5,782 positive confirmed cases in the Indian health system and 176 deaths. Again, that is a total of 5,782 positive confirmed cases and 176 deaths as of this morning. The Choctaw Nation of Oklahoma reported 5 new cases within their tribal jurisdiction. Then they now have a total of 98 positive confirmed cases. And in Arizona, the Colorado River Indian tribes announced 5 new positive cases, giving the tribe a total of 19 cases overall. The White Mountain Apache tribe in Arizona also reported 15 new cases, and they now have a total of 426 cases. And the Mississippi Band of Choctaw Indians in Mississippi reported 15 new cases also. They have a total now of 325 cases. And the Navajo Nation reported 69 new cases and 2 additional deaths, Patty. And in New Mexico, actually, Quechua Pueblo showed an increase of their cases too. They now have 20 new cases, and the Pueblo breaks down their data by health clinic and by positive results in their Quechua Pueblo community. And the Pueblo now has a total of 45 positive cases in their community. However, its health center tested an additional 5. So, Patty, this is where Quechua Pueblo is a really good example of how Indian Country Today collects the data. We collect the data announced by the tribe, but this could be tribal citizens and or of those who live in the community. Also, individuals could be enrolled, but they don't live in the community. And we also look at the tribal health clinics who are testing people too. For example, like in Quechua Pueblo, those 5 individuals tested by the Quechua Pueblo Health Center did not live in the community, but the tribal health resources are still used, so we still include those numbers. And there are some cases where tribally run clinics test non-Native people, and we still count those because those are tribal health resources.
That's the case at Hopi as well, because Hopi has tested not quite 100, well, they've tested more than that, but not quite 100 cases of positive COVID tests there. But half of that, those cases are actual Hopi tribal members. And we have to remember that non-natives live on the reservations, either working there or married into the tribe. So we are keeping track and, to the best of our ability, looking at which of these cases are actual tribal members and then what is the balance in non-tribal members. So we are continuing to gather that data with the tribes.
Yes, and then we also get our submissions from the Google Form submissions or emails that people are sending us and press releases from the tribes themselves.
All right. Jordan Bennett-Begay, thank you so much.
Thank you, Patty.
And we'll be right back.
This is Indian Country Today.
Welcome back. Throughout this pandemic, the governor of South Dakota has not issued a stay-at-home order or put any restrictions on residents there. This is putting her at odds with several tribes in the state who have put up roadblocks and set up contact tracing in an effort to protect their people. Harold Frazier is the chairman of the Cheyenne River Sioux tribe, and he joins us today to tell us about his tribe's efforts. Welcome, Chairman Frazier.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Thank you.
Of course. Now, Governor Kristi Noem first sent you a letter demanding that you remove your checkpoints or she would take legal action. And then her second letter didn't include that threat of legal action. Where does this standoff stand now?
Well, we responded back. We thank her for her comments, and we'll consider them. And we're still gonna. It doesn't matter what they write, what they say. We're gonna keep maintaining the actions that we're doing. It seems to be working well, and especially as we monitor and see a lot of positive cases starting to come up around us. So we're just going to keep maintaining our position and just keep our doing the things we're doing.
Now, the governor, in her first letter, alleged that your roadblocks were preventing people from getting through, people like delivery trucks and even, medical aid. Did she ever explain any specific incidents of that happening?
Well, all that was all not true. From day one, I've sent her just a screenshot of the things we decided. Medical was definitely allowed to come through. Also commercial, because we do need supplies. Essential, agriculture. We got to have, them guys growing food and raising livestock and stuff. So all them things we were, from day one until now, we're allowing to come through. We're just asking them to be a little patient and answer some health questions, and they're allowed to roll through.
And have all the people driving through there, have they cooperated with you in filling out the health form and telling you, well, the commercial ones aren't really stopped. If you're looking at their license plate, right? And if they have a commercial license plate, they're being allowed to just proceed without stopping or filling out a health form?
They're still stopped for probably, I timed them. It's probably a minute to minute and a half where they just answer, tell us where they're going, where they're coming from, and if they don't show any of the symptoms, and then they're rolled through. One thing I did notice, a lot of the commercial traffic, a lot of the drivers are wearing face masks when they, so that's pretty good. But yeah, there has really, I would say, very, very small percentage that we have a little bit of issues with some of the motorists. Probably, I don't know, less than maybe even 2%, even 1% that are disgruntled about them. But other than that, majority of the people have been very cooperative.
Now, the governor also mentioned something about private property on the reservation. Do you have pockets of land on your reservation that are private?
Well, there is some non-Indian fee land on our reservation, but we're very fortunate that majority of it, probably about 60% of land, are owned by the tribe and also allotted to tribal members. So we own majority of the land on our reservation. We've also too, our boundaries are pretty strong. There was case law back in the day that said so. So legally, we're pretty strong here on Cheyenne River.
Okay. And do you want the governor to issue a stay-at-home order for the entire state?
It'd be helpful, but we just got to maintain what we're doing here at home and stay focused, and that's what we've been trying to do. Be respectful to everybody and just try to keep going, because the ultimate goal is to because the limited health resources we have available here, we're just that's the main purpose. I mean, we're not here to try to make trouble or wreak havoc in people's lives. I mean, again, our purpose is to keep our people healthy and save lives.
I think a lot of people have a hard time really understanding how far you have to travel for medical care. And again, tell us how far is that distance to a fully equipped hospital that can that has beds for COVID positive patients and ventilators.
Right now, it's a Rapid City is the nearest critical care for us, and it's about a 3-hour drive. So I
And
mean
that's one
that,
way.
that's one way. Yes, yes.
Yeah. So there's a real situation there. And currently you have one case of the coronavirus on the reservation. How is that person doing?
The patient has recovered fully. I really give thanks for that. But right now, and we were able to, contain it quickly, isolate it and contain it quickly. And I believe that success come back to our health checkpoints. I mean, we knew when the patient come back, we knew where the patient was at when they got exposed to it, and then we were able to move quickly, and they were being monitored for about 4 days before 4 or 5 days, I think, before they got sick. So I give all that credit to our checkpoints and also our command center. They were, constant contact and stuff. So it worked well, and hopefully we don't have to do that again. But I'm really confident with our process that we have in place that we'll be able to try to keep control of the virus if it gets here again.
Yes, and a lot of communities are looking at that contact tracing as being key, as you just explained, in watching people's movement and then following them if they do test positive, and then looking at family members they've been in contact with to put them on alert as well. How did you develop your program, even from deputizing people, because you had to put a call out for people to come and be at these checkpoints? How did that all come about?
Well, I always remember, I think in March 10th was one of the first meetings we had, and we just started just different. We just kept rehearsing different scenarios. What would we do? What can we do? Et cetera. And I give, just to everybody here at home, everybody stepped up, provided their knowledge, and we were able to come up with these different ideas, strategies, and again, in our Constitution, we have the authority to deputize a police force and stuff. And prior to BIA coming in, we used to have our own police force. So, I mean, we already have the model there, and we just brought it back up and so forth.
Mm-hmm. So these people are being paid to be at the roadblocks and to check people. And then the idea of contact tracing, how did you develop that form with the questions on there specific to people coming onto the reservation or just passing through?
We're fortunate that we really have some very awesome people working with us. Our director of nursing, tribal health, is really knowledgeable in it. We also have our infectious control person that works for us, well trained, and we're really lucky that our local service unit here really works well with us, and we look at each other as one team. I think that's where the success is right there. We've been united. We're staying united here. It doesn't matter because we live here. This is our home, and everybody stepped up to protect it. And I believe that's one of our reason why we've been successful, is because everyone stepped up and just, hey, we're in this together. Let's get to work. And I mean, even today, every morning, I don't care what, and that's why I don't even know what day it is. It's Sundays, just like a Friday, etc. But we've all on a briefing call every morning, 9 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. We're on it. At noon, I give an update every day on the radio. So our local radio. So it's because of all of us. I was thinking back the other day, and I thought, it's just not, it can't be just, everybody stepped up, and everybody is consistent, and we're just focused, and through that, I keep saying on the radio that if we keep doing these things, that we will remain successful.
How large is your population on the reservation?
There's about 12,000 residents here on the reservation.
That's a good number of people to keep corralled in and to get that word out. So you touched on tribal radio. How has that played a role in getting the word out to all of the people?
It really did a lot good. And then, we're able to live stream my reports, and it's even going out further. But I'm starting to where now everybody knows the time. The time is really awesome. So now we're bringing in our professionals, because I could say for a fact the chairman doesn't know everything. So we have to rely on our experts. So like today, because the patient recovered, the public is asking, can we go back? And very first thing we did, we defined some levels. We defined level 1, 2, 3, and 4. And there are certain trigger points to them levels. And now they're asking, can we go back to level 2, which would no stay at home and no curfew. But we're fortunate, we have 2 employees that have masters in public health, and today they'll making that report on if we can and when can we go back, and is it recommended that we do scale back at this time. So all of our decisions have been made that way through our health professionals, and that's kind of going back to the deputies too. They're definitely orientated in the health area to be doing the social distancing and stuff before they're sent out.
Now, the trucks that are coming through to provide groceries, are you set with that, or are you also accepting donations? Because so many tribes have been cut off, where there's lack of food available, toilet paper, hand sanitizer, that kind of thing. How are you dealing with that? Is there a scarcity on the reservation? Or are you okay?
Well, we're fairly okay. Thing that's really impacting our people is definitely the price of some products, such as meat. We just see it skyrocket, and we talked a little bit about that this morning on our briefing. A lot of our council members get on the briefing call too, and we're going to be looking at some different solutions possible to try to offset that.
All right. And then the other tribes in the state that have put up roadblocks, the Oglala Sioux tribe, and there's another tribe that I believe it was Rosebud Sioux. Have you guys consulted together in these roadblocks?
Well, when we started off, I believe us and Ogallala might have been the same time. Lower Brew has done it as well. I think they've been in operation for a couple weeks, and then just recently Rosebud, and I know Crow Creek is developing. We shared our plans with everybody. We kind of talked, but again, we all have different constitutions. We all have different case law. But the one thing that we have in common, and is the basis of this, is we have a treaty. And in our treaty, it says that before any non-Indian can travel through or reside, they must get consent of the Indian. So that's kind of the basis of our health checkpoints.
And that brings up the letter that 17 bipartisan lawmakers in South Dakota sent to the governor, telling her about the Treaty of Fort Laramie. Did that surprise you that you had bipartisan support to let the governor know you were in the clear to have these roadblocks?
Yeah, that was good that they done that. We thank them for it, but and I just can't see why we have to ask the governor for what. I mean, it's just unbelievable, and they're really disappointed in the Bureau of Indian Affairs. And they never stepped up. They have never done anything for us other than and I've always said that. Now again, it shows that they're only here to control Indians. And a matter of fact, we have had monitored briefings, daily briefings by the state, and there was no mention of Indians or Indian tribes. And all of a sudden, when we put up the checkpoints, and we put up the checkpoint on April 3rd. And April 8th, I know the South Dakota DOT has contacted us through a letter and said, hey, if you guys can do this, gave some suggestions. We thanked them. But they never really got to talk until around, I believe you could hear this state tribal relations yesterday on the Native American call-in mentioned that it was on the 18th when they tried to have a meeting. By that time, we were already gone. we've left. We've had to take these actions because had we waited for anybody, who knows what condition we'd be in today.
So at some point in one of your many interviews, you mentioned the BIA mission statement and how it's supposed to enhance the quality of life and promote economic opportunity, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And you said exactly what you just said, that you're not getting that help from the BIA.
No, as a matter of fact, right now, there's a BIA road closed because they have not ever replaced a culvert. And we have BIA Route 9. And interesting, right now, today, there's a county road that is currently closed. And the reason why it's closed is because the state didn't give the county enough funding to build a detour. So right now, if we want to talk closed roads, it goes back to the truth is the BIA closed the road and now the state of South Dakota closed the road.
Okay, well, there's a lot to uncover here and to continue to follow. You lost a tribal member. She was an inmate transferred from Winter, South Dakota, down to Fort Worth, Texas. Andrea Circlebear, and she, at the time of her death, she was pregnant and her baby survived. What kind of update can you give us on her child?
Well, the child is doing well and is living with her grandma, and thankful for that. And I just can't say too much about it, out of respect to the family. And I think they deserve their privacy. And so I've kind of, I'm here if I've talked to them and said, I'm here if you need me, and leave it at that, I guess.
Yeah, it's and condolences to the loss of your tribal member there. And we are seeing that situation in jails and prison facilities where the virus is just spreading. And so she was the first female inmate to die in custody from COVID-19. So now, where do you go from here with your roadblocks? How long will they be up?
Well, they will probably stay until the virus is no longer a threat. I think that's why we have dictated it. That's what dictates our actions is the virus. It's not something that we're doing. It's because the goal is to keep everybody safe and keep them to be allowed to live a long, good life.
Live a long, good life like tribal elders. What have the tribal elders told you about this pandemic, and also knowing the history of pandemics with tribes, germ warfare? What have they told you and how have they guided you?
From the very beginning, this is serious. They said, we need to do things. And so, that just motivated us to just get moving. And it wasn't until we really looked at the numbers and the potential where we could possibly in need of 1,000 to 1,200 beds. And when we only had 8, we said, hey, we got to do something. We got to move. And that woke up everybody and just lit a fire in us, and we just kept moving.
Now, you've asked people to pray. What exactly are you praying for? Are you praying for the end of the pandemic? Are you praying for strength for the people? What exactly do you want your people to pray for?
That's one of our, laws of our Chanupa is we always pray and always pray for good health, give thanks for being here another day. And then, once you have good health, you can accomplish a lot. Make us to make good decisions because, you need good health, not just physically, but mentally as well. So you're strong and you can make them good decisions.
Yes, that's so much of a Lakota value, that spirit, that mind, body, and spirit, overall health and well-being.
Yes. Yep.
All right. Well, Chairman Harold Fraser, thank you so much for joining us today on our newscast. We appreciate your time, and we will continue to follow your story as you protect your people.
Thank you. Appreciate you having me. So.
Thank you. And thank you for watching. Take care of yourselves. Your life is precious. I'm Patty Tholahungva. Join us again tomorrow.
is Indian country today?